All right, so I started taking the spark plugs out, just the very first one here at the front. I thought I'd show this. This is my spark plug wrench I use, which I've labeled, but I've also ground it pretty thin. It actually works pretty good for this particular engine with headers to get the plugs out. But anyway, I wanted to tell a story. A guy used to work for, the owner used to work at a Chevrolet dealership as a mechanic, and back in the 80s. Anyway, one day he went to the parts counter and told him he needed spark plugs for whatever car he was working on. And the parts counter guy said, "Do you want those pre-gapped?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." He said that guy took the spark plugs and went wham on the counter and smashed the electrodes flat. And he goes, "There you go, there's your pre-gapped plugs." I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, something that nobody really cares, but I always thought it was kind of funny. So I got to gap all these, anti-seize them, and then swap them out. So this is going to end up being probably a nice 30-minute job, I would imagine. All right, I'm going to try this. Don't know how it's going to work. This is a kit, like a aftermarket cheapy, not GoPro brand little kit you get, and it has all kinds of attachments for the GoPro camera. Anyway, this is like a strap chest mount thing, so it's like suspenders almost, but not really sure where to set the GoPro. But anyway, I just got done brush painting my new spark plug here, gapped it and brush painting it. So I'll go ahead and put this in. I don't know how this is going to work out. We'll just have to see. Doesn't actually look like it's going to work at all when I go to do this, so it's hard for me to see the screen that close to me. Yeah, it's not going to work, I don't think, unless I move it up a little bit. I don't know. May work, may not. I can't see the screen, so I don't know what you're seeing. I'll find it when I edit it, though. So in case you do not know, if you are running aluminum cylinder heads, you need to put anti-seize on the spark plugs if you ever want to get them out again. I love my little homemade plug wire dividers I made. It's kind of a mess when you got to take the valve cover off like the other side, because you got to take a ton of that stuff out. Or take a ton of that stuff off, I should say. If I remember right, it's either this one or that back one that's really not fun because of the dipstick. Like one little tiny turn at a time. Got some long-winded son of a guns. Yeah, look how black those are. So these are 64cc Edelbrock aluminum E Street heads. This is like their inexpensive aluminum head. If I run an HEI distributor, I usually run my plug gap at about 40, a real nice tight 40. Everybody's different on plug gap. It's just what I've always done. 35 is fine, but I usually like a good tight 40. It's like I'm getting 38 on it. I gotta paint it. Trying not to get any up there on the upper part. It's kind of strange. When I bought these heads brand new from Summit, they only listed a couple of plugs that will work on these. If I remember right, I think they're metric threads. They're not like your standard old school R45 TSs, which is what I usually run on my other small blocks. I don't ever super torque these either. I just in there enough, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's this last one that might be the one that sucks. Golly. Okay. Another really awesome reason to get your car running and, you know, pretty much base tuned without the front fenders on it and inner fenders in your way. You can really get in here. You know, I'm about half tempted to cut this wrench down. I don't need it this long. And now that the shift linkage is in here, this is not going to be fun. When I put it in, I didn't have the shift linkage in my way. Dang it. Yeah, I just can't get to it now. Dang it. I don't think I can get a ratchet on that one either. Boy, it is just not quite. There's no way to do it from that side. Man, I tell you, gotta love headers. I think I'm gonna cut this wrench down. I think I'm gonna cut that sucker about right here. Might make it a little bit easier for me to work with. Let's make some sparks. I hate to cut that old wrench, but custom car, custom tools. Well, there you go. Let's do that. How come that doesn't work? What the hell? Is my air filter clogged up? Is that why that didn't plug in there? I'll get my head straight in a minute, guys. Probably not today, but sometime. Alright, let's run a vintage Thorson 2220, made in USA. This is kind of a shame. I'll go ahead and stick it back in my toolbox. Never know, I might have to use that in for something. You guys want to see a cool wrench? You ever seen anything like that? How cool is that? It says Italy. I don't know what this is for. This was in an old toolbox. A guy showed up where I used to work, and he had found a toolbox on the road, and it was a little one. He said, I don't really want it, but you guys can have whatever you want out of it. So I took that. Seems like I took something else too, but I don't really remember. That'd have been a good video if I'd have busted my ass. There was another one I thought that was kind of funky, but I don't remember what it was. Yeah, it's nice and hot now. It should be a little bit easier to get in here now. Right there on that wheel pressure center. Oh yeah, that's what I needed right there. Sacrificed an old wrench for the greater good, I guess. Another black one. I'm kind of interested to see how this footage turns out. Ooh, that's a nice tight 40 there. I've mentioned it before, but in case you didn't catch it, if you put aluma coated headers or stainless or something like that on your car, brand new, and you're going to start it up, be sure and wash your header tubes off with like Windex or something, 409 something, and like a good rag, like a microfiber, because your fingerprints, your oily fingerprints, and you know, any polished, like these came polished stainless steel, so they had rouge on them. If you start that engine up, that stuff will cook to it, and you'll have to scrub like hell to get it off at a later date. So also on aluma coated headers, if you're breaking in a hydraulic flat tappet cam, it is not recommended to use those headers for breaking in a flat tappet hydraulic camshaft, because it will cook the coating. Little tip there for you. That's just from me reading instructions on stuff sometimes. I don't always read instructions, but when I do, it's black. All right, I don't think you guys are going to want to watch a full 30-minute video of me changing spark plugs and gapping them and stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and kill it. Hopefully this video footage turns out. So this ticking is not up here. It's coming from down here. Okay, so it's not the rocker arms. Something down low up here. I'm wondering if it's that fuel pump rod, because I just used a used one that I had here. Dang it. Well, I feel a whole lot better from that, but now it's one of those hunt and find, see what kind of deal happens here. I'm pretty sure that's the fuel pump rod that was in this engine. Yeah, it was. It wasn't knocking up there before. Dang it. I might take the belt off and start it up to see if it's something on the front runner system here. It could be the alternator, something in the alternator maybe, I don't know. Alright, to be continued. Alright, mystery solved. I unplugged the fuel pump, unhooked it from the block, pulled it out so the fuel pump rod fell straight down. No more clicking. I took the belt off first, it's still clicking. Took the fuel pump loose, so the fuel pump rod is clacking on the fuel pump. Wow. I still got the idle a little high on it. Wow. So I guess I'll, it was hard to get to the fuel pump with my alternator on, so I went in and took the alternator off. I thought something inside the alternator may have came loose and it was clicking in there, you know, clacking, so that's why I took the belt off. But, man, that engine sounds fantastic now. So I reclocked my distributor and I've got it quite a bit better. I still, at the end of it, I want the distributor straight, so I'll pull that distributor in and out and reset that pump a million times until I get it perfectly straight, because for me it's aesthetics, you know, with that thing being sitting in there right. But this hose, I plan on, you know, cutting it and shortening it up, but I was waiting on until I, you know, made sure I had enough hose first. But I may end up making a steel line and putting rubber hose ends on it like I did the steel line for the PCV system. So I may do that as well, just use a piece of like 3/16 brake line, which I have some of that same color, greenish gray color. But mystery solved. Fuel pump rod, man. Now you might see a little bit of a smile on my face, because man, I was worried one of them lifters were bad. Golly. And then I got to worrying if this wasn't the problem, something in the front of that engine's wrong, maybe the little cam button or something. It was running wild up here. But anyway, guys, it runs good now. Well, I mean, I still got to tune it, but you get what I'm saying. Mystery solved. Thank goodness. I can't believe how smooth and quiet that engine was after pulling that out of there. So this is a cast roller cam. It had a casting line on it, so this is not a billet steel one. So I called a buddy of mine and asked him if billet cam or roller cams take a different length push rod for the fuel pump. And he said that they do make one with a bronze tip, which I did see that. But anyway, so now I've got a couple of these laying around here, so I'm going to dig them out and see what difference there is. It sounds like a pretty big difference in it, but I don't know, man. Probably going to have to call Howard's Cams directly and talk to a tech guy. But this is a small block Chevy fuel pump rod. I mean, this is all I have here. This is what I had in that engine. So the only thing that got changed out was, I mean, the engine obviously, but you know, the same fuel pump and fuel pump rod and everything. So yeah. Oh well, I'll figure it out. Oh boy, I love having all this aftermarket crap. This is just so much fun. So I dug out 3 more fuel pump rods I had, just used ones. And one of them actually looked like it might have been a hair bit longer, standing them up end on my countertop in the house. But I don't have a caliper that long, so I don't know. So I cleaned it up and I put it in here, and it's still doing the clicking sound. If I unhook that fuel pump away from the engine, it doesn't click anymore. So it's either the fuel pump rod or the fuel pump. So I called Howard's Cams, and I told him the engine and told him the cam. This is just an iron cam. This is not a billet steel cam, so it does not require a bronze tip push rod. He said a stock replacement is fine. So he thinks the fuel pump's bad. So this would be, if I warranty this fuel pump out, this will be fuel pump number 3. So, man, I'm just so excited. I'm telling you, you cannot, I mean, it's amazing. That fuel pump push rod did not make noise in that 350. So I changed to a 400 and I changed to a hydraulic roller cam, and now I have a clicking. So it doesn't make any sense to me. I can see how the fuel pump could be defective. I mean, maybe the little arm in there is maybe not going out far enough. I don't know. This is the biggest bunch of crap I've ever had to mess with. Every time I get out of my comfort zone and try something new, I end up with new problems that I have to overcome and figure out what you're supposed to change or do or fix. So I really do not want to put an electric fuel pump on this car, but I may have to. Wait. Fuel pump wasn't doing that before. Fuel pump rod wasn't doing it before. I changed the camshaft out and it's doing it. I don't know, man. I can guarantee you, I will go warranty that fuel pump out, and I can guarantee you, bet you money, it's still going to do it. So, but it's not Howard's Cam's problem, is it? It's not their fault. All right, so I'm pretty frustrated. It sucks, man. You get something running, and there's always some little stupid issue, especially something I didn't have before. So I'm blown away, man. Same fuel pump rod as the 350 that was in it. Didn't have this noise. It's a clacking like a loose rocker arm, and it is that fuel pump rod, because when I take the fuel pump off of the engine and let the fuel pump rod just slide forward into the plate and start the car up, it is completely smooth, quiet, no clacking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and buy a new stock replacement fuel pump, and I'm going to buy a brand new fuel pump rod, and I'm going to change them both. And if it still does it, it's the camshaft. So I mean, all Howard's had to do was grind it a little bit wrong. So, and the only way that's going to be able to be fixed is to use electric fuel pump. So this is ridiculous, man. The type of crap that I have to go through, the headaches and the stress over stupid little crap like this, man. Golly. I had a smile about an hour ago. It's long gone now, though. Thanks for watching. That's the end of day 4. I'm done.